WWE Extreme Rules took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Wells Fargo Center. And when the show started, you had the 1 hour pre-show. You had Jonathan Coachman, Beth Phoenix, Charlie Caruso, and Sam Roberts on the pre-show. They ran down some of the matches on the card. And they announced there was something that was really surprising was The Undertaker and Roman Reigns against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre is going to open this show, and that was very strange. They show a segment with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans backstage, and then we go to the first match, which was a match that was not announced. The Intercontinental title was on the line. Finn Balor defended his title against Shinsuke Nakamura. Big upset here. Nakamura wins the title. He's their new Intercontinental champion. It was a short match. I guess they can do a rematch. Maybe they do a rematch at SummerSlam when you have Balor as the Demon. He does that every SummerSlam. But that was definitely a surprise. We have a new Intercontinental champion, and maybe they continue their feud. They did something with the New Day being interviewed by Charlie Caruso. It was just strange how they did it. They kind of like all lined up behind each other, so it looked like a giant line or something. They go to the Cruiserweight title next. You have Drew Gulak against Tony Nese. Gulak wins. It was a good match. Entertaining stuff from bell to bell. Nothing great, but it was fine. So now the pay-per-view starts, the main card, and they show Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre walking in the back. So they immediately started the show off, and then they go to a video package, and we get the match. Shane and Drew come out, Roman Reigns comes out, and then The Undertaker comes out with a big entrance. The match they had here, I thought it was a very good opener. I enjoyed it a lot. The crowd was very into it, and you had some really entertaining spots. The Undertaker, he was easily the most over guy on the match by far, and he was probably the most over guy on the show. He got a hot tag early. He ran rump shot on Shane and Drew. And then you had Shane and Drew take over after Elias comes out and attacks The Undertaker with a guitar. And then they beat down Roman. And he had some big Shane McMahon spots. He does the whole jumping off the top rope onto the announcer's table. He did that to Undertaker. They broke the announcer's table. And then he does the coast to coast. He uses the trash can to hit The Undertaker. It looks like that's it. Looks like Undertaker's done. And then all of a sudden he sits up, Roman comes back, and he attacks Drew. And Undertaker goes after Shane McMahon. He's about to put Shane away, and then Drew McIntyre is about to attack Undertaker, but then Roman Reigns takes him out with a spear. Taker tombstone Shane McMahon. He gets the 3 count. Undertaker, Roman Reigns are your victors. And then after the match, he had Undertaker kind of pat Roman on the shoulder, and that was it. He didn't do a situation where they really embraced that much. It was just a pat on the shoulder. Reigns' music plays. He leaves the ring. Undertaker stays in the ring. He does the classic Undertaker pose where he gets down on one knee and puts the arm up. And that was it. It was a really good opener. The crowd really liked Undertaker, and I enjoyed that match a lot. I think Undertaker definitely got some redemption from that horrible Goldberg match in Saudi Arabia. Next, we go backstage, and we have Sarah Schreiber, who's interviewing. Sarah is the blonde chick. She's interviewing the blonde one, interviewer. She's interviewing Seth and Becky. They're responsible for each other. They have motivation. It was okay. But something that's really interesting is they announced that the July 22nd Raw, it's almost going to be like a Raw 25. It's being dubbed a Raw reunion with some of the biggest names in Raw history. You're going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff, Shawn Michaels, Sergeant Slaughter, and more. That's actually really cool. They're going to make that a big show. They don't do those types of Raws anymore, but we're going to get one of those big Raws coming up, and I'm looking forward to that for sure. And I actually went to the Revival against the Usos for the Raw Tag Team titles. Not a great match at all. It was good. I mean, the Usos have had so many great pay-per-view matches, and Revival had great matches in NXT. You expect a great tag match. You got a good tag match. Revival gets the win here. It was an old-school physical bout. It wasn't a great tag match, but the heels get the win. Good choice, and they keep their tag team titles. Next, we go to Aleister Black, who makes his debut as a single star on the main roster. It's against Cesaro. They had a solid match. The crowd was chanting this was awesome. I did not necessarily like it. You had some really good brawling. I didn't think it was awesome. I liked it, but I didn't call it awesome. You had a very hard-hitting, tough style match. It was a match in which you had a lot of striking. That's perfect for Aleister Black. My favorite match Aleister Black ever had, or one of my favorites with Aleister Black in NXT, was the match he had with Hideo Itami. That was just a strike fest. It was great. He had that kind of match here with Cesaro. He had some grappling too. Cesaro was great. I wish they had more for Cesaro to do, but this was definitely a good spot to be in. I enjoyed the match a lot. Crowd liked it a lot, and Black gets a good win here. He wins with the black mask, and definitely a match he needed to win. They go backstage. This was strange. It was R-Truth and Carmella putting up flyers, and then they run into Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And I have to say, Alexa Bliss, as always, looking absolutely stunning. Just what a gorgeous woman. My goodness, she's fucking insanely attractive. It's ridiculous. She's scary pretty. But they have an interaction with them, and then they go off, and then you have the Street Profits come up, and this going on for 5 minutes. I mean, you could stare at Alexa Bliss for all that time, so it's not too bad, but it went on and on. You waited forever for this to end. Eventually they leave, and the Street Profits take over the segment. I'm not a big fan of how they're using them. I don't even think they should be on the main roster. They're still on NXT, and I think they might even lose their tag team titles to the Undisputed Era now if they're just going to be on the main roster. Next, you go to the SmackDown Women's Championship. If you're looking to see Sasha Banks, you are going to be very disappointed because there was no Sasha here. There was a reference to her, but there was no Sasha in this match. You have Bayley defending her title against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Easily the worst match on the card. As much as I like Alexa Bliss and how gorgeous Alexa is, she's very not good in the ring at all. She's just not that good. Her moves are not believable. I hate her gymnastic moves. The whole double knee thing does not look like it hurts. The match was just no good. I was not into it. Bayley pinned Nikki Cross, and they have Alexa and Nikki embrace after the match, so they didn't do a heel turn. I suppose they can go after the Iconics, and they'll be better champions than the Iconics. Anyone will be, but as for the two of them challenging Bayley, I think that's done, and it depends where Bayley goes next. Maybe Sasha returns and Bayley feuds with her at SummerSlam, or Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Champion. What about a feud with Charlotte? Maybe Sasha can come back and feud with Becky. We'll see what they do with Bayley, but she keeps the belt, beats Alexa and Nikki in the handicap match. Not a very good match. Just did not like it much. Next, you go to Last Man Standing. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. In the match, I think a lot of people are going to agree that was a sleeper on the show. This was a very good match. It was very entertaining. It went on a bit too long, in my opinion. I thought you could have turned off about a good 5 to 7 minutes in that match, but it was still very entertaining. It was a match that just started off really hot. Braun ran into Lashley. He got the upper hand, and then Lashley attacks Braun with steel stairs and then a steel chair, and Lashley dominates for a while. You had a lot of running, a lot of big Braun doing that big shoulder block run. You had a lot of that here early on. And then the rest of the match really takes place in the crowd. They battle through the crowd. It seems like for an eternity they're in the crowd. They battle all throughout it, mostly with Lashley getting the upper hand, and then Lashley kicks Strowman's ass, and they go backstage. And backstage near the concession stands, if people are going to get food and stuff, that's where they brawl, and where the t-shirts are being sold. Strowman's out, but then Strowman comes back and he suplexes Bobby Lashley into into like a giant wall that has t-shirts, and the wall falls down, and they go back, and they go back into the crowd. They make their way down there, and Lashley spears Strowman through the barricade, and they go back near the crowd again, near the ring entrance. And this is really a cool spot. Lashley jumps over the barricade, but then Strowman grabs him and he throws him into the into the camera. In the crowd, you have tables where you have cameramen. It's like the camera's tables in the crowd, cameraman tables. That's where I thought of it. He throws him into there. They go up the arena, like up the steps in the stands, and then they ascend into an opening where you have like this giant tent that's just there, and Braun picks up Lashley. He does a running power slam through the surface, through the tent, and they smash to the ground. Of course, there's padding, but it looked insanely cool. It was an awesome looking bump. It looks like the match is over. They're both going to be counted out. Then Braun breaks through the wood or whatever. He gets out of that surface. It kind of reminded me of WrestleMania 17 with that South Kane, Big Show, and Raven, something like that. But that's the kind of spot it was. Braun emerges out. He gets up. Lashley's counted out. Braun Strowman wins the last man standing match in a very entertaining match, and I really enjoyed it. Braun Strowman wins. And I think this is going to really help Braun. Next, you had backstage Charlie Caruso's interviewing AJ Styles in the club. They're very confident. They're going to be top heels, I guess, in the company now with the club. They're a faction. I like AJ as a face, but I think he does well as a heel too. Next, you have a triple threat tag team match for the SmackDown tag titles. Daniel Bryan and Rowan against the New Day, against Heavy Machinery. Very entertaining match. It was really exciting. I looked for sure it was going to be Daniel Bryan and Rowan winning. In the end, you had Daniel Bryan look like he was going to put Big E away. Otis and Tucker out of the match right now. It looks like it's going to be over. But then it enrages Big E, and Big E comes back. He gets Daniel Bryan up for the midnight hour. Xavier hits it. Xavier pins him. And the New Day are your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That was definitely a surprise. I don't think anyone was really expecting that. They were probably the third most likely team to win, or least likely team to win. I don't think anyone was expecting New Day to win. And plus, Kofi's getting a huge push, and Big E and Xavier have kind of been put on the back burner for a while. I don't think anyone was expecting them to win that match. It was definitely a cool surprise here. I was expecting it to go out of Bryan or Rowan to retain, or it was going to go to Heavy Machinery. But they went with the New Day here. It was a very entertaining match. He had some dives here. Daniel Bryan's great. He's probably still the best wrestler in the company, or one of the best. He's incredible. They had a very entertaining match, and they go with new champs. It was definitely a pleasant surprise. And New Day gets the tag team titles back. And after that, they go backstage, and they're all celebrating. Kofi celebrates with Big E and Xavier, and you have Charlie, I think, was ready to interview him. Or, sorry, it wasn't Charlie, it was Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton is ready to interview them, and Kayla has the microphone, and as the New Day is about to talk, you have Paul Heyman snatch the microphone away from Kayla. He goes up the ramp, and he announces Brock Lesnar is going to be here, and you have to ask if he's telling the truth or if he's Paul Heyman, and he was telling the truth. Up next, U.S. title match, Ricochet defends his title against AJ Styles. You had Gallows and Anderson attacking Ricochet early on. It was tough. I mean, this wasn't a great match. It was a good match. It was like a really good Raw match. But, when you have AJ Styles and Ricochet, I'm sorry, but you want a great match here. And this was anything but a great match. It was nothing close to being great. It was good, but it's these two in the ring. You want a great match here. And it was more so of a story of the club emerging as top heels. I'm sure they'll probably have a rematch at SummerSlam, but you want to see these two tear the house down, and we didn't really get that here. Maybe they're saving it for SummerSlam, but you eventually have the club interfering. They distract the referee, and it sets up AJ and Ricochet on the top rope. AJ hits a Styles Clash from the second rope. Big finisher. He puts Ricochet away, gets the win. AJ Styles is your new United States champion. It was a good way to build up AJ. It sets up a rematch, and they set up Ricochet as a good babyface. And it is what it is. I was expecting a great match. If you didn't get it here on the show, maybe you get it at the next show. Next, we go to a squash match. Kevin Owens against Dolph Ziggler. Kevin Owens comes out. Ziggler slaps him. He kicks him. Owens then hits a stunner. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens squashes Dolph Ziggler. And then Owens goes and off on a tangent about Shane McMahon. And he says he can kiss his ass. I guess they set up Shane and Kevin Owens at SummerSlam. And that's how that segment basically ended. So Kevin Owens definitely being pushed as a badass babyface here. Now we get to the two main events. You have the WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston defending his title against Samoa Joe. Absolutely nothing into this. I did not have any doubt of who was winning this match. This was 100% predictable. The most predictable title match you've seen. And the fans knew it. The fans didn't really care because they knew there was no chance in hell Joe was winning. As everyone does, no chance in hell Joe wins. Kofi wins cleanly with the Trouble in Paradise. And I was glad this match was over so we can just get to the main event to see if Brock was going to come over or not. So, main event. Winner take all. Double title match. Winner, both the Raw Women's Championship and the WWE Universal Championship are on the line. Mixed tag team match, Extreme Rules. Winner take all, basically. So what we have here was a very good main event. I liked it. I thought they had a good match. It started off a bit slow. We got some cool kendo stick beatings by Becky and Seth. It went back and forth a bit. You had a lot of chairs in the match, too. You had Lacey Evans and Becky working a bit, and then what you had was Rollins and Becky get the upper hand, and they start setting up tables. They set up 2 tables on the outside, and then eventually they come back, and Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans hit these double choke slams, and then they go to the outside, but Seth and Becky get a really good spot in which they hit a double suplex onto the ramp. It looked cool. And easily the best part was the double table spot. Becky and Seth get grabbed, jump to the top rope. Baron and Lacey are both laid out on tables on the outside. Becky does a leg drop onto Lacey through a table. And then Seth does a frog splash onto Corbin onto a table that was further away. That was a really great spot. I really liked that. And then what happens is they get back in the ring. It's Rollins and Corbin. Corbin hits a deep 6. And then the crazy spot was Baron Corbin gives Becky Lynch the end of days. Holy shit. Becky gets taken out. She gets the finisher and end of days. They make Corbin an asshole heel. And then Seth freaks out. He kills Baron Corbin. Absolutely murders this guy. Beats the living shit out of him with a cane. Beats the hell out of him with a steel chair. Gives him 3 consecutive curb stomps, and Lacey Evans even walks out, and Becky's on the outside, so she's taken out, and that's interesting. So Seth can't celebrate with her after he wins. Becky's been taken out, Lacey walks out, Corbin's been killed, Rollins hits the 3rd curb stomp, gets the victory, he's still mad, he wins. Then immediately Brock Lesnar's music hits, he comes out with the briefcase with Paul Heyman, he cashes in. Lesnar hits 2 German suplexes, then they finally ring the bell. They announce the match is on. F5, 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar is your new Universal Champion. For the 3rd time, Brock Lesnar is the Universal Champion. Crazy way to end the show. Definitely gets people talking. People are going to be mad. I'm fine with it. I think it's a great ending. I think it's definitely going to get a lot of people interested in the product again, got people talking. And I will say this, I thought WWE had a better show. I enjoyed Extreme Rules more than I enjoyed AEW's show, Favor the Fallen. So I thought they had a better show this weekend, and I thought this was a good pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. A lot of entertaining spots. Could have been shorter. That's definitely a problem. It doesn't need to be this long. You could have trimmed an hour off. It did not need to be 4 hours or 5 hours. So with the pre-show, 5-hour show, you could have trimmed off an hour. A good event, though. I enjoyed Extreme Rules, and I thought they really did a very good job with this pay-per-view.